GR Cup. The action was fierce enough that it came down to a last lap battle for the win, side by side, almost to the last couple corners. Will we get the same sort of action again here today, especially considering we have a mixed up field due to an interruption in qualifying? I'm Joe Peak, and I will be joined shortly here by DJ Clark in our coverage of round 9 in the Toyota GR Cup. Road America here for race 2 of the weekend. After we had such great racing there in the first one, already the cars are lined up and just about good to go. This will be a fun one, no doubt. They've proven to be a fantastic match for this track with all kinds of side-by-side action. And DJ, this is the one I've been looking forward to all weekend.
Track for this GR Cup series that we've had circled since the very beginning of the year. A lot of heavy drafting around here, which means a lot of good overtakes. And you mentioned earlier that battle yesterday that we saw between Tyler Gonzalez and Gresham Wagner coming down to the last couple of corners. Well, everything's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be Gonzalez that has to really climb his way up through the order. But our pole sitter here today, Will Rogers and Godwin Motorsports, had a chance to talk to them earlier today. They said it's a new season starting today. They're kind of doing a hard reset on everything, and 2024 starts now for that Godwin Motorsports team.
Let's not forget that Wagner and that number 5 and Kohlbecker in the 55 starting second and third respectively on the grid are also second and third in the points. Now, Wagner's a long ways away, but Kohlbecker's trying to play catch-up on Gonzalez here. This is an excellent opportunity for him to try and make up points. But because what we've seen with how fast Gresham Wagner is, I think he's going to have a difficult time on trying to maximize those points, because Tyler could maybe fight his way through the field and get up to them. But I still think it's going to be a real dogfight at the front.
I have to agree with you there about that. Here's another driver to keep an eye on starting in 9th place. That's Lucas Weisenberg. Lucas was able to take a victory earlier on in the season in round 5, but had a terrible, terrible run last time out, picking up a double goose egg there in the last couple of rounds. So he's going to be looking to maybe carry on some good momentum here as they go. But a lot of drivers here in this series, very hungry, very eager to make their way forward. Sometimes that leads to a little bit of elbows out racing, but I've got to say here, Joe, I have been so impressed over the course of this season with just how clean they have been. It has been exactly what you want out of a spec series such as this.
Yeah, and like I said, the elbows really need to be out here today just because of how the slipstream has allowed them to fight so hard together. But yeah, it's been very fair racing between everybody. That Godwin Motorsports car there on the front has an excellent opportunity to try and also snatch things away from the two rivals. Will is actually 5th in the points, but again, a long ways down, and has not had a win yet this season, so he's going to be hungry.
Yeah, he's going to be very hungry indeed. As there we take a look at that number 55. You mentioned them earlier. Spike Kohlbecker able to pick up a victory on the season, as well as 3 second places, and add to that 2 fourth places as well. So very clearly has some speed there, and I think Kohlbecker and Wagner probably going to be the battle here that we're going to want to keep our eye on. But let's talk about another driver a little farther back down in the field. Weston Workman coming home yesterday for Smooge Racing in that number 66. This is a new driver into the series, and I think it's fair to say Weston impressed.
Now, the other thing about Weston is that he was on 2 purple sectors before that red flag came out. So he could have been on the pole here today if it wasn't for that stoppage in qualifying.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Well, speaking of that red flag and the stoppage in qualifying, we look down the order as everybody heads out on track here at the moment, and it's going to be Will Rogers in pole position, as we said, for Godwin Motorsports. Gresham Wagner, one of the protagonists in that battle yesterday, starting off P2. P3 is going to be Spike Kohlbecker with Paul Bocuse to his outside for Copeland Motorsports. Tyler Wettengel starts off in P5, and another name to keep an eye on, the 99 of Drake Kemper, going to be to his outside. Weston Workman for Smooge Racing will start off 7th with Kevin Foster flanking him. Then it's Lucas Weisenberg and Will Robusto to round out your top 10.
6th row sees Justin Piscatel a little bit out of place there in 11th. Corey Hyam also kind of far back in 12th. Again, mixed up grid here because of that qualifying. Derek Jones starts 13th, followed by Stephen Clemens, who went up and down the order yesterday. Tyler Gonzalez, 15th. There you go. That's how far he's going to have to climb, with Mia Lovell 16th and Joey De Silva starting 17th. Outside of the 9th row is Jackson Bell. Kanan O'Connell will be P19, followed by Tony Breidinger.
As we move back into row 11, we find Mark Pombo there in 21st, followed by Austin Dodge in the number 31. Aiden Yoder, podium finisher last time out in Nashville, will start 23rd, with Spencer Schmidt flanking him in the number 37. Andrew Gilliland rolls off in 25th position, with Farron Davis to his outside in the number 11. Tommy McCarthy will start 27th on the field here. A lot of work here to do for Tommy, but certainly, as we said earlier, able to make passes around here. It's not necessarily a qualifying dependent circuit, but we will have to see just how much we see this jumbled up order. Going to make things very, very interesting, and dare I say, a little bit chaotic.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad you pointed that out. I think they're going to have to be on their toes for this race, because those who are slightly out of position, remember, there's other drivers are going to be fighting just as hard. They've got their own battles. Yes, for Tyler, he might be fighting for a championship, but everybody else around him probably doesn't care about that as much as he does. So the onus is on him to keep the car safe. They know that they've got less to lose.
Yeah, very much so. As there you see weaving coming down that little straightaway between the carousel and the kink, one of the most treacherous portions on that track. You've got to lift off here a little bit in these GR Cup machines. Can't take that flat out as you would in some other machinery. Plenty of work here being done, making sure those Continental tires are up to temperature, making sure the brakes are up to optimum temperature, and getting ready to be able to take the green flag here for a 45-minute run around America's National Park of Speed.
Pace car with the lights off coming down through Canada Corner should be getting going soon here. We should be seeing them go double file and taking off after they come out of that turn 14. Excited to see what they're going to bring us, because yesterday, even with a traditional qualifying, they put on an incredible show. What's it going to be like with everybody all jumbled?
Most certainly, we're going to have to keep an eye out on that. As there, it looked like in the back, I think that's one of the Smooth Racing machines kicking up a little bit of dirt coming around through Bill Mitchell Bend. But the field is double file here. That Toyota GR86 safety car is about to make its way down pit lane. There it takes the right hand, giving control of the field over to Will Rogers. Looks like a little bit of jumble up there in the back of the field, but everybody's going to be able to be okay as they climb the hill here. Rogers and Wagner getting ready to enter into the VP acceleration zone as all eyes turn to the flag stand, and there goes the green. We are racing here in Wisconsin. It's a decent getaway there from Rogers, but Wagner was right on it as well. They're going to start to pull away here a little bit from Spike Kohlbecker. Immediately, Wagner moving over to driver's left, trying to take as much speed through turn 1 as possible. Let's see if he's able to carry that speed in the number 5 machine, slipping and sliding their way around. Looks like the majority of the field's going to be able to get through nice and cleanly, as now here comes Spike Kohlbecker into the equation.
Still side by side for the lead down into turn 3. Wagner's not willing to give this one up. Rogers going to be just as hungry, a few of them kicking up the dirt there, but it does look like that Rogers came out ahead.
Yeah, Rogers going to be able to hold on here at the moment, and unless my eyes deceive me, that was actually Spike Kohlbecker able to get the run on Gresham Wagner. Wagner now finds himself under attack from Copeland Motorsports. Paul Bocuse back in 3rd position here as they go. More dust kicked up in the background. Defensive line there for Will Rogers coming into the corner. Side by side, a little bit farther back. I think that's Wettingel and Kemper trying to sort themselves out.
A bit of a dodge down to the inside. I think ahead of Kemper in the 99, actually getting chopped off, but he'll keep it from becoming an accident as the drivers drift their way through turn 6. Like I said, they need to keep their wits about them, especially those faster drivers that are out of position.
Yeah, very much so. And one of the things you mentioned, that drift through the corners here, you don't want to be doing that too much, but it's very easy to do. Is car off in the background there a little bit, going to be able to hold it and come on back together, so everyone's going to be okay. But very close running here up at the front of the field, down through the carousel. Rogers continuing to lead. Kohlbecker and Wagner there behind as they try to sort themselves out here on the run into the kink. Kohlbecker even poking a nose out, thinking about trying to scare Will Rogers off the line. It actually looks like it could cost him just a little bit of time to his teammate there, Gresham Wagner.
This is one of the scary parts here on the first lap, because if there's an accident, there's almost no place to go with the walls on either side and so many cars close together. But looks like we're through that one clean. And And as they come down into Canada Corner, it looks like Spike is going to continue to try and pile on that pressure. Credit to him, though, even though he's trying things, he still hasn't given it back up to Wagner.
No, certainly hasn't here at this point. Farther back in the field, there's the number 46 machine of Lucas Weisenberg trying to make a couple of moves there. A little bit of dust kicked up around Bill Mitchell Bend. We've seen that quite a few times as here they come back onto the start-finish straightaway to complete lap 1. Again, it's Rogers, Kohlbecker, and Wagner up at the front of the field. Little bit of a gap there back to Paul Bocuse as there the whole field looks like they're relatively single file until we get into this battle. That's Corey Heim, and I believe that's going to be Jackson Bell in the background trying to get something to do there, as well as the number 98 of Caden O'Connell.
Yeah, and the two also getting involved, and once again we see some fights. Oh, a big slide, of course, from our leader, and also way off of the 99 of Kemper too. No accidents, but the cars are looking quite unsettled, and I think the second is going to go back to the number 5.
Yes, it is. Gresham Wagner able to make that move down into turn 3. Not always the optimum overtaking opportunity, but Gresham Wagner saying, if it's a corner, I'm going to make it work. Still a little bit side by side farther back in the field. I think that's Justin Piscatell that we see there. Little bit of a run here with Piscatell. I think that's Will Robusto trying to go. Wagner now takes a look down to the inside. Here they go down into turn 5. It's side by side all the way through the field.
Weisenberg also trying to make a move, but I think, Rogers, I don't think he's in the lead anymore. Looks like that is now Wagner.
Oh, and that's 2 positions lost there for Will Rogers as Spike Kohlbecker, the other Tech Sport racing machine, able to get on by here at this point. They're going to fly their way through the hurry downs, and that's Rogers going far off the track as Paul Bocuse now is going to look for a little bit of an attack. And look at that, Smooge Racing's Weston Workman. We talked about him earlier. He finds himself in P5, and he wants a little bit more.
Rogers doesn't have the mental game, it seems. The car was decently fast, but now that he's been rattled, it looks like he's really on the back foot. 71 of Bocuse finally gives him a little bit of relief now that he's got to keep Workman behind him, but he's around the outside, way too far on the outside.
And that's one of the problems that this repave has presented when we talk about the carousel is there you see that's Kevin Foster also able to make the move big off in front. If you get a little too far wide through the carousel, you're going to find yourself in a world of trouble. But now look at this, Justin Piscatell trying to make a little bit of a move here, coming back down through Kettle Bottoms. That's going to be side by side there, I believe, with Paul Bocuse in the number 71, who's had a very rough lap. That's going to drop him far down the order.
Yeah, I think Bocuse was the one we saw go off course there on the carousel. That's such an important exit right there because, yes, they need a little bit of a lift down through the kink, but you need that momentum and speed at such a high-speed portion of the track.
Yeah, you certainly do. And look at that gap up at the front now that Gresham Wagner has been released. They're going to cross over the line here, and I'm going to just estimate that that's about a second here for the Tech Sport Racing driver. It's a very large gap, call it 1.3. Farther back down in the field, Aiden Yoder, and it looks like Drake Kemper in a little bit of a fight directly behind them. We see a couple other drivers, including Stephen Clements, and I believe that's the number 2 machine there of Jackson Bell. Jackson doing a good job climbing up from that less than optimal starting position, trying to dive to the inside of Kanan O'Connell, but O'Connell shuts the door and says no thank you.
So he's not willing to give that one up here, but look at how it just trickles down. As soon as somebody's momentum is interrupted, everybody behind is going to just jump on it. That's Yoder getting a spot there.
Yoder getting a spot, Corey Heim up at the lead of this little group of cars. This is the battle farther down in the field here at about, let's call it 10th place or so. Tyler Gonzalez, by the way, already up to B10. It's Gresham Wagner, your leader, just continuing to grow that gap over the rest of the field. And on the way to taking that lead, by the way, sets the fastest lap of the race with a 2:34.134.
Here's the interesting thing about Tyler. He's only 5.6 seconds behind the leaders right now. So yes, he's still in 10th, but we've got 38 minutes left of a 45-minute race, and he's already managed to do this without losing too much time. I wondered yesterday, or this morning rather, when we saw that qualifying, if he would genuinely be a threat for the win, and I'd say that's still a real possibility.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's going to have to make some moves here at this point, and I think it's going to be increasingly more difficult as he climbs his way up through the order. As we take a look at the exit of the carousel there, you can see a little bit of that dirt kicked across the track. That's going to be a little bit of a grip concern, I think, for a few drivers. But no problems here for your leaders as they come out of the carousel, working their way towards the kink. That battle right there. Looks like Paul Bocuse has a little bit of right rear damage on it. A piece of that bodywork kind of flapping in the wind.
That can happen when you go off course that fast. You saw him bounding when he came off the carousel through the dirt, so I'm not too surprised that maybe it unhooked some fasteners there on the bumper.
Yeah, I'm not surprised either. It doesn't look like it's going to slow him down too much. Weston Workman and Spike Kolbecker both taking defensive lines down into Canada corner, clearly feeling the pressure. There's the 28 here of Justin Piscatell going to try to close in on the back of this three-car battle. That's going to be Workman, Weisenberg, and Foster that he sees ahead of him.
Workman's going to have his work cut out for him, honestly, with Weisenberg here just behind him in that 46. Because Lucas is a very fierce fighter, and if he smells any opportunity to try and make a pass, he's probably going to take it. But I've been impressed with Weston over the course of this weekend, mostly because he genuinely tries to stay under the radar here and just kind of puts in a good race and gets results from it.
Yeah, very much letting his pace set the conversation for him. Justin Piscatell setting the fastest lap of the race as we watch the battle with Spike Kolbecker and Will Rogers. Kolbecker taking a little bit of a defensive line, feeling the pressure here from that Godwin Motorsports number 6. But Joe, as they continue to fight, that's just allowing the likes of Workman, Weisenberg, Foster, and Piscatell to enter into this equation and enter into this battle for podium positions.
Well, and Gresham Wagner to exit because he's gone. He's 1.7 seconds up the road. And unless we get a pretty fast driver starting to try and challenge him, I don't think that we'll have much of a hope of someone trying to take that win away from him. He has been far and above one of the fastest drivers. Only Tyler Gonzalez most times is able to match him in pace.
Yeah, very much so. As we continue to watch that battle here for P4 right now. Weston Workman leading Weisenberg, leading Foster, leading Piscatell. Piscatell taking a little bit of a look to the inside, although he's a little bit too far back going down into turn 8. I saw Kevin Foster doing the same thing there for open road racing, just trying to take a little bit of an option. Looks like there. Interesting line from Lucas Weisenberg. You saw that he really brought the corner over to brought the car over to the left as much as possible, trying to take as much speed into the entrance of the carousel as possible.
But you really need it with this new surface because you want to stay tucked into that inside line all the way through. I've heard drivers say that the new surface has changed the camber on the outside. Weisenberg is changing the camber of the dust on the outside of the kink, unfortunately, there for a moment.
Yeah, he certainly is, as now Gonzalez looked like he had a little bit of a move. Oh, that's going to be the 66 machine of Weston Workman. I think losing 2 positions there potentially. No, excuse me, they're catching onto the back of Rogers and Kolbecker. That threw me for a loop. This is now a full-on, I would say, 6-car battle for the podium.
Credit to Rogers, though. I was critical about how he was getting rattled out there as we got a car way off there coming through turn 13, but the 8 is managed to hold on to it. That's Will Robusto, who managed not to make an accident, while Piscatell looks like he's going to get in a little fight here.
Yeah, Piscatell up to the inside there of Kevin Foster. Foster not getting the best run off of turn 14. Foster's going to do the heads-up thing here and poke back into the draft as Kolbecker tries to hold off Rogers and the rest of them. Doesn't look like Foster's going to be able to get that position back. A little bit of a twitch there under braking for the open road racing machine, as they'll now filter their way down through turns 2 and 3. Piscatell having to gain a little bit of time here, about a second up to Lucas Weisenberg before he can enter back into that fray.
Weisenberg almost pushing that car through the corner, but to finish my thought before, I'm impressed with Rogers responding, and it seems like, you know, once he fell back to third, that was it. He wasn't going to let anybody else try and take more positions away. He at least wants a podium out of this if he's going to start on pole.
Yeah, he will. Oh, is the number 2 car. That's Jackson Bell coming down into pit lane with some pretty heavy left front damage. Not looking great there for the Precision Racing LA driver. It's really a shame. He has been trending upward over the course of results in the last couple of rounds. A very tough break there for him. We focus on the number 73 right now. That's actually Jackson's teammate there, Aiden Yoder. Yoder coming off, as we mentioned earlier, a podium in Nashville. Not looking like he's on course to repeat here today. A little bit farther back in the field in 13th, but as we've seen with these races, anything can happen, and Yoder certainly has the speed to be able to get himself back up into contention.
That's the second time within a lap that Robustos went way off. This time at turn 7. Both times got lucky because both those corners will bite you hard. if you lose control of the car in the grass. So he's got to clean that up, I think, or else he's going to be in some serious trouble somewhere.
Oh, Gonzalez thought about a look going down into the kink on Bocuse. Didn't think about it. He went for it and made it work. That is some impressive stuff there. Robusto, again, a little bit slippy slidey there coming down through the kink, but able to keep it off of the grass. As here is that battle up for P2. Rogers taking a very defensive line on Weston Workman, and that allows for Lucas Weisenberg to get a pretty good run there coming out of Canada Corner.
Yeah, and Weisenberg's not going to be patient forever on this one. We're getting to be 15 minutes into this race. That's almost a third of the way through, and there we go. I think Workman knows it. He's going to make a move on the 6 down into turn 14, and it's going to cause a freight train. He'll lose both spots.
Yeah, that's Lucas Weisenberg able to make the play as well, moving his way forward. He's now going to tuck behind the draft there of Weston Workman, as it looks like there the former third-place driver of Will Rogers going to try to prevent this from going out here as much as they go. Trying to be able to see what they can do. Almost a little bit of a bump draft there for Justin Piscatell on the back of Lucas Weisenberg. Is that going to be able to propel him forward ahead of Rogers? But Piscatell now going to be able to try to get the move done. They're still going to be side by side.
Oh, it's going from bad to worse for Rogers. Piscatell to his inside, down into turn 3. I was going to say that's just about a slam dunk. Unfortunately, it's hard to defend from around the outside of that turn.
Yeah, very, very is. As there is Gresham Wagner, and I've got to think here for Gresham at the front of the field, this is a pretty good birthday present. His 26th birthday here today. I think he'd like to be able to walk away with some hardware.
Yeah, and it's on the Sunday, so it's the last race of the weekend. He's going to be celebrating hard, I think, after this one. Piscatell having a little bit of a fight back from the 6 of Will Rogers. And Rogers, like I said, he's starting to get his elbows out a little bit more. He's fighting back.
Yeah, he is, and this is now allowed for Kevin Foster to be able to bring their way back into this battle as well. Foster for Open Road Racing, trying to see if he's got anything to play for here. A note from Race Control, incident with car 98 and multiple cars at turn 5 is under review. That's Kanan O'Connell as Weisenberg takes a big dive down to the inside of turn 8 there on Weston Workman and gets it done.
It's go time for Lucas. I told you, he doesn't sit around forever. He's going to go for it. I've never seen Race Control do something like that. They didn't even list other cars. They just said multiple cars. So he's been a bit of a naughty boy, apparently, has O'Connell. In the meantime, we continue to watch these battles up towards the top 10 of the field, nose to tail.
Oh, trailing a tire onto the inside there, it looked like was Will Rogers. That's not going to scupper his speed at all here at this point, so he'll be able to keep that together. But now taking a little bit of a peek to the inside here goes Weston Workman, thinking about going back to the inside there of Lucas Weisenberg. Weisenberg's going to be able to hold it, but that stack up allows for Justin Piscatell to get a run here on Will Rogers.
Rogers side by side, Piscatell on the outside coming up and over the crest, and somehow he holds it out, but Rogers tries to stick his nose in down into 14. Nothing doing on that one. Watch out for the 69 of Foster as well. And look at this, Tyler Gonzalez is there in 8th. He's got 3 cars right in front of him.
Welcome to the party. Your championship points leader there in the number 57 for Copeland Motorsports. Going to be able to get a run here on Kevin Foster. It looks like there he's going to be bringing that car along. Foster actually is going to be able to be helped out here by Piscatell's draft, by Piscatell and Rogers' draft in front of him. But Gonzalez gets his elbows out going into turn 1. Muscles him out of the way there, so he'll be able to do that. All of this battling behind, by the way, is allowed for Spike Kohlbecker to get a little bit farther forward. Paul Bocuse trying to get a little bit of a run here, going down into the corner on the number 73 machine of Aiden Yoder. Yoder going to hold it around the outside.
Paul's been having a bit of a difficult one after he had his off. I wonder if he damaged more than just that rear bumper and something's a little amiss with the car because he's been kind of giving away positions here and there. Remember, he was in the top 3 at the start of this one, and yeah, they sweep past him.
Yeah, they sweep on by him here. Oh, that's Kohlbecker. That is Kohlbecker slow out on the circuit. He is pulling off to the right-hand side there of turn 5. Going to probably try to go through the pit out there and bring the car to safety, but that is a huge, huge change in order here. Your second-place driver looking to have terminal problems.
Wow, and he did start to pull around like he wanted to maybe carry on. Maybe he was second guessing it. If that car remains stopped there, they're going to have to throw full course yellow because that's right at the end of turn 5 where they're doing some incredible speeds.
Yeah, they very much are. Gonzalez right now on the hunt still. Going to be working behind Will Rogers as they come through the carousel. Credit here to Kevin Foster. He has not lost time here to the back of Gonzalez as Gonzalez takes a little bit of a peek into the kink. This is the battle for P6 right now. Again, more dust kicked up there going through that fearsome corner. I've got to think here for Tyler Gonzalez. He's going to have a little bit of a look. I thought he would, but he appears to be a little bit far back to have a true look going down into Canada corner. And indeed, the number 57 will stay in line here going down through the right-hander.
Looking at the numbers, Tyler's now 8.5 seconds behind the leader, but that's Gresham Wagner who's had clear air. If you compare it to Spike Kohlbecker, who's in second, he's still about 5 seconds behind, which is exactly what he was before. So he's, I think, probably looking at potentially a second as we have that safety car now coming out, I assume, for Kohlbecker.
Yep, I believe that is what it will be, and that's going to neutralize the field here at this point. And so that lead that Gresham Wagner was able to develop, no, it's not.
Wow.
Excuse me. That is, it looks like for 2 cars there at the moment. That is the Techsport racing car of Spike Kohlbecker, and I couldn't get a clear vantage point on that other car that was stopped there. That may be Jordan Segrini there in the number 18, but do not quote me on that.
Yeah, we'll try and get a better picture of who that is stopped up there, but they were pulled off far off, so they may actually be out of the firing line. And should be easy to pull away. Both cars should be hopefully a quick removal, and we'll get back to racing. Now, all that I was just saying about Gonzalez, forget that. Now suddenly Gresham Wagner's lead has been erased, and if Gonzalez manages to get himself back into it, this is going to be a good opportunity for him. Interesting that Kohlbecker had the presence of mind to put the flashers on there.
Yeah, put the flashers on and brought that Techsport Racing number 55 over to the right-hand side of the track and just was trying to be as cognizant as possible that he was a slow-moving car and wanted to stay out of the way. Looks like we may have a little bit of an answer there for why the 99 of Drake Kemper has been falling down through the order. Remember, Drake started a little farther up in the field. You saw a little bit of damage there to the right front of that car. So clearly something getting involved there and getting knocked askew. These drivers now work their way through turn 5, the side of the incident there for the number 55 of Spike Kohlbecker, and the safety crews will no doubt be bringing that car back into the paddock here shortly.
I wonder if that other car, it looked like maybe it was here through the hurry down somewhere. It was somewhere with a bit of elevation change and a bit of an opening in the wall, but I couldn't quite pick it out. We'll try and see if we can suss that one out in a little bit, but already up to the back of the safety car, everybody starting to weave and try and keep their tires warm to be ready for the restart. We'll still have, I'd say, plenty of time, probably about half the race or a little bit less than that to go once we get going green.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there about that. I think it's going to be plenty of time for this race to play itself out, flesh itself out. And for Tyler Gonzalez, who's already been able to rise up into P6, this is going to be absolutely perfect for him. Now, granted, he's going to have some pretty hardy competition here at this point. We are talking about the heavy hitters in this series up in the top 5 position, whether it's Piscatell, Weisenberg, Wagner, and certainly Weston Workman throwing his name into the ring after a fantastic opening round. And look at that, Joe. It looks like the lights are already out on that GR86 safety car, so we are going to be back to green flag racing at the next time by.
I want to give credit to the entire safety crew here at Road America. The entire weekend, they've been given a workout with plenty of incidents, and yet they've been so on top of it and extremely quick. They've gotten them back racing a few times where I thought we had the race over.
Yeah, they have to the extreme. So a little bit of weaving here. Once again, making sure those Continental tires are up into that perfect operating window, so you're going to be able to be in full attack mode when we come across the start-finish line. Now, I'm going to be interested to see what Lucas Weisenberg is going to be able to do. He was starting to build a gap over Weston Workman, and we haven't really seen just how close he's going to be able to run there to Gresham Wagner now that he's in some clean air. So that could be very, very interesting to see how that battle will play out.
I'm going to keep my eyes on Speedy Gonzalez, if I'm honest. He is, now that the gap has been cut down and he can see the leader, I think he is going to be charging forward as here comes the green flag.
And they are able to accelerate out of turn 14, and that's exactly what Gresham Wagner is going to do, getting on the loud pedal here. Looks like Lucas Weisenberg trying to give chase as they climb the hill and head towards the start-finish line. Now, crucially, they are not able to make an overtake until they cross over that start-finish line, and there they go. It is all fair game, and it looks like Tyler Gonzalez has got a great run on the back of Will Rogers. Indeed, Rogers going defensive, maybe a little bit of offensive move there as he tries to make a move around Piscatell.
Wagner covering that inside. Piscatell also on the inside of the 6 of the Godwin Motorsports machine. And just as I said, Tyler Gonzalez already picking up a spot with that move.
He's going to pick up a spot there at that point. Kevin Foster trying to be able to take a position away from Will Rogers here. That's the number 69 in that black, blue, and red machine. It's pretty much single file here coming down through the Moraine sweep. Looks like Piscatell trying to already run defensive. Is now Gonzalez going to change it up there, moving from driver's right to driver's left. He's got the overspeed. He's going to be down to the inside into 5.
He started this restart in 6 and already going to take 4th place away down into turn 5, and that was an easy looking pass for him. Just slid it to the inside and Piscatell could do nothing about it.
And I like what I'm seeing there out of Gonzalez. Did you see that little half drift into the middle of the track? Just making sure there that Piscatell had no way to fight back. By the way, that incident with the number 98 of Kanan O'Connell, that will be reviewed post-race. So Stewart's deciding to take a look at that after everything is said and done. Right now, though, Justin Piscatell runs in 5th place as Will Rogers is falling down through the order here a little bit more, but Tyler Gonzalez thought about a move around the outside of the carousel on the number 66 of Weston Workman. That didn't play out, and now it looks like Gonzalez could be falling into the clutches here of Justin Piscatell.
And right now, Wagner needs to try and break this slipstream. He does not want to be towing these people along and try and break away like he did before, because if he can get a bit of a gap, that will give him enough of a buffer for Gonzalez to have to try and really hustle the car to at least even catch up, let alone try to pass him. But it's still bunched up right now, so that's bad news for Gresham. Watch for him to try and pull away as soon as he can.
He's going to have a tall order of that, though. Lucas Weisenberg, no slouch when it comes to it. I will say there is a little bit of a gap starting to form. Oh, as we've got a car running slowly, that's the number 73 machine of Aiden Yoder there, I believe. As looked like that car, I couldn't see any damage on it, but clearly something wrong. Hazards on going down through Kettle Bottoms.
Let's hope we don't get another quick yellow here. We can stay green racing, because this is some fun stuff right now out on the track. As the mid-pack up and over the crest of the start-finish line, heading towards that first corner. Will Robusto in the middle of that. Let's see if he stays on the track here. At least he's got the paved runoff out of turn 1.
Yeah, he'll have that paved runoff coming out of turn 1. Your top 6 or so stay in single file order. Looks like they're starting to drop Kevin Foster just a little bit, as now Corey Himes going to be trying to be able to get a move done. No, excuse me, that's actually a move there. Tyler Wettengel able to send the move down into the corner, and now Austin Dodge and the number 71 of Paul Bocuse going to go side by side through 3.
Oh, Bocuse kicking up more dirt there coming off of 3. That's going to slow him up down this long straight. It's so important to keep it on the black stuff out of these corners that exit onto the long straightaways, because you need every bit of momentum in these lower powered cars.
Yes, you do, as they're that side-by-side. Going to continue on. Bocuse and Dodge coming down into the braking zone for 5. A little bit of a move there, as it looks like the 71 of Bocuse will be able to hold the line. It just forced Austin Dodge a little bit wide. Is that a 2-for-1 move there for Tyler Gonzalez?
Oh my goodness, he's already up into 2nd place. I can't believe this guy sometimes. And that was getting past Lucas Weisenberg, who, like I said, is a fierce competitor. So he did a fantastic job. Piscatell on the back foot a little bit, as that looks like Rogers going to try and get that spot away from him, but on the wrong side of turn 8, or the right side of the carousel. We'll see if he holds on to it here.
He's going to be on that preferred line. I'll tell you what, Kevin Foster in the number 69 machine, hoping that he was going to be able to lose a little bit of grip, but that looks like the Justin Piscatell will hold that in line, as now Piscatell takes a little bit of a look to the inside there of Will Rogers. Gonzalez, though, up into P2. He clearly has his sights ahead of him as he tries to close in on the number 5 of Gresham Wagner. Joe, could we be in store for a repeat of what we saw yesterday?
I mean, it'll be absolutely stunning if we are, because that came from 15th position for Tyler Gonzalez in that number 57 you see on screen. Now this, I think, is going to be an important lap, this next one by, because this is finally clear air for Tyler. So we'll get an actual read on Wagner versus Tyler's pace.
Yeah, we will. So let's keep an eye on those timings as they go, as it looks like Gonzalez is going to be able to carry some good speed coming out of turn 14. The rest of that field really kind of stretching all the way back to about 11th place or so with Paul Bocuse. That is going to be, actually, it's Will Robusto back 10th place. The top 10 definitely keeping up together here. The gap between Wagner and Gonzalez, 1.5 seconds, and part of the reason for that is I think Gresham recognized the speed that Tyler has, and he just put in the fastest lap of the race with a 2:32.732.
I was just about to mention that. Gresham is aware that who's behind him now, and he's picking up the pace, knowing that he's got to start hustling the car. He put himself about 1.5 seconds ahead. It's going to be a little more comfortable. I expected him to push a little farther away from the field there, so I think he was having trouble trying to break that slipstream to those behind him. That's really the big thing. If Tyler can get up to that draft, then that's going to pull him in even quicker.
Yeah, and that's the crucial thing here with these long straightaways coming down into turn 5, the start-finish straight, as well as the run from the kink down into Canada Corner. If he can bring that down by about 0.5 of a second, that'll perfectly position him in to get the draft, and that's what he wants to do. Justin Piscatell takes a little bit of a look to the inside there of Will Rogers coming up the hill into turn 6. A little bit of dirt kicked up there. I think that actually may have been from Tyler Gonzalez as he is hustling that number 57.
Using every inch of the track. He can't leave anything on the table here, and I think he knows it, especially with the hard fight that he had yesterday. He's got to try and give it everything he can. But we did talk a little bit about yesterday that one of the things that he has to consider is that when it's himself versus Wagner, he's way ahead in the points. He doesn't have to win. But from what we've seen from Tyler, I don't think he cares about that. I think he wants the victory no matter what. Yeah,
I think he does as well. Another moment here from race control. Looks like the incident between Corey Heim and the number 44 machine of Derek Jones is under review, so we'll keep you up to date on that. Looks like here Will Rogers under a lot of pressure from Justin Piscatell coming down into Canada Corner. Piscatell going to try to look a long way around as Rogers covers off the inside line. Good roll of momentum there for the 28, but is he going to have a nose ahead by the time they come into Bill Mitchell Bend? Yes, he is. Good move there for Piscatell.
Nice work there from the 28, managing to get ahead. That was crucial. You really don't want to go side by side through that left-hander at Bill Mitchell Bend. Also, the incident between the 24 and the 44 are going to be reviewed post-race, so they probably want to talk to the drivers to get their thoughts.
Yeah, so that's another thing that will be reviewed post-race, as we mentioned. Good little battle here as they come across the line. Piscatell starting to stretch away a little bit. And Joe, you just pointed at the screen here as Tyler Gonzalez has done exactly what we said, got that gap down under 1 second to Gresham Wagner.
For a brief moment, he was the fastest driver on the track, but that got taken away, I think, by Dodge behind him, who had a very fast lap. But even still, last lap was quite a bit faster by about 0.6. Gonzalez cutting that down, so half a second.
Yeah, very, very quick, as if we didn't know that already from Tyler Gonzalez as he tries to close on in here. Lucas Weisenberg holding on to P3 right now over Weston Workman, but all eyes here have to go to the resumption of this battle that we have seen time and time again between Gresham Wagner and Tyler Gonzalez. Back down in P6, though, Will Rogers again taking a very defensive line, trying to cover off from Kevin Foster. Those two cars that run behind them there at that point, that's Tyler Wettengill for Nitro Motorsports and his teammate Corey Heim in 9th place.
Yeah, watching this 66 try to stick with it here. Was a little bit farther up earlier on, but now in the midst of it, there we see Wagner leading the race, probably having a bit of a Ripley moment here, looking back in the mirror and saying, I thought you were dead.
Yeah, maybe, but he knows what the battle is at stake here at this point. Disappointed to lose out on the win yesterday. He's going to be fighting tooth and nail here, I think, in that number 5 Tech Sport Racing machine to try to hold on here. He takes a very wide line on the entry into the kink. Again, that corner just all about maximizing that minimum corner speed, bleeding off as little speed as possible going down through there.
So 13 minutes left on the clock now. It's coming down to it, and Gonzalez is just about caught up to him. We'll see what the gap is when they come across the line. Still waiting for Workman and that 66 to try and catch up to Weisenberg. Lucas having a fantastic race with him climbing up into the podium position. Now that he's there, though, I wonder if he used up a bit much. The 24 on the outside of Bill Mitchell Bend. And is this Robusto? He's going to stick his nose in, but he can't quite get it done.
Yeah, and this is that battle that we were talking about a little bit earlier. Corey Heim, Tyler Wettengel, Will Robusto there, and I believe Austin Dodge clinging on to 11th position here at this point, as yes, it is indeed Corey Heim. Here comes the move, though, for the lead. That's going to be Tyler Gonzalez taking a poke to the inside. Not going to have the speed to get it done, but he is threatening. He is letting Gresham Wagner know that he is there.
3 tenths apart at the line. Another 5 tenths knocked off that last lap, and Tyler again with the fastest lap of the race. This time nobody else stole it away from him, and he is purple. Copeland Motorsports versus Tech Sport Racing up against each other once again.
Yeah, these have been two of the championship protagonists over the course of this season. So it looks like Gonzalez taking a little bit of a peek to the inside there as well. Meanwhile, Weston Workman looking left, looking right on Lucas Weisenberg. Weisenberg covers off that inside lane. He's going to force Weston to go around the long way of turn 5. Weston deciding that discretion being the better part of valor there goes not for the move, and he'll stay in line.
They got to watch out, though. Piscatel's back there, and he's not too far behind. So if they start battling side by side, I wonder if Justin will become a factor to try and decide this final step on the podium.
Yeah, he could be in well. Oh, as Will Robusto has a big off there coming up through turn 6. That's going to put him under pressure there from Austin Dodge. There is that number 46, Lucas Weisenberg, the final podium position here. Weston Workman trying to close in behind him. That gap just about 4 car lengths as they come through the carousel. Justin Piscatel lurking in the background. Will Rogers riding in 6th. Oh, that is just how much they are pushing through there. Joe Weisenberg actually kicking up dirt on the inside of the carousel.
Yeah, he's using every inch of track and then some in his case. So the 66, both of them on the inside of the kink, kicking up the dust as they fly through there behind them. Looked like Rogers was a little out of sorts on the exit, but he managed it.
Yeah, he managed to keep it together. Rogers has to watch out for Kevin Foster in that open road number 69 from behind him. As we focus back in on the lead here at this point, Gonzalez up through Billy Mitchell Bend. By the way, he does have that CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race with a 2:32.135. That was set at the last time of asking. So Gonzalez has plenty of speed in that number 57, even 3/4 of the way through the race.
Now, if he does get by, like we saw last time, the slipstream makes it possible for Wagner to fight back. I do think Tyler is the faster of the two, but I don't think he's fast enough to ditch him.
Yeah, I think that's about right. There they come across the line. Their pace separated by about 1/10.5. Here comes Gonzalez down to the inside. He's got the speed. Dare I say this, Joe? I think Wagner may have let him go there a little bit.
I don't know. I think he would want the track position right now. It'd be very unusual for him to give it up so easily. But I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall, knew that he had a good run, didn't want to fight it too hard. Now he's probably going to be watching carefully. When you're the trailing driver, you're always taking notes mentally, trying to see where are they picking up the time on me.
Yeah, and it looked like they're coming down into turn 3. I saw sort of a hand gesticulation out of Gresham Wagner, so not sure if he maybe just lost some speed there or something, maybe just a little bit of frustration at getting past. But nevertheless, he's going to keep it within about a car length going into turn 5. Farther back in the field, we see Weisenberg able to hold off on Workman. There's going to be a move done by Austin Dodge on Will Robusto. That's going to be there for about P10.
So top 10 positions still very much under threat here. We'll see if any of them can manage to do anything. That 31 car, having taken the 1, now he's got 1 more ahead of him if he really wants to try and push the issue. As we come back to our leaders now, The 5 has got to make sure that the 57 does not get farther ahead of him here. If he lets him get away too much, he could risk losing touch with Gonzalez.
Yeah, he could. I mean, the gap here is expanding to about 5 or 6 car lengths, but they are entering onto one of the longer straight portions of the track, so I've got to think that that draft is going to come back to help Gresham Wagner here, especially with that line through the kink. Very, very good, just on the edge of being out of control, but that's exactly how you want to take that corner.
Yeah, and it always amazes me down through the kink with these cars. The more I watch them this weekend, the more it scares me because they do feel right on the edge of control through that fast right-hander. And while they can slide around, you really don't want to slide them too much because if you reach the grass, well, good night.
Yeah. If you hit that grass, you are in for an absolute calamity. But none of these drivers having to worry about that here at this point. The only thing that Gresham Wagner has to worry about is the number 57 up in front of him as they climb the hill right now. Let's see what that gap is at the line with about 7.5 minutes left to go in this race. Race number 2 from Road America for the Toyota GR Cup North America season. The gap is 0.5 of a second. Gresham Wagner poking his nose out of line, maybe trying to elicit just a little bit of an error out of his rival.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't anything like cooling the car, I would think. That was him trying to see if he could distract him for a brief moment, but we got a battle for the 3rd position.
That's Workman and Weisenberg, the 2 W's coming down into turn 3. Workman going to try to squeeze Weisenberg as much as possible and squeezes him off the racing line. A great run there for the number 66.
Up onto the podium again. Weston looking phenomenal today, and watch out for that Smooge racing machine in the future. I feel like if he finds just a little bit more speed, he's going to be a serious problem for guys like Wagner and Gonzalez in the future.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. He is quick, he is smart, and he drives the car very, very well. Oh, big slide there for Lucas Weisenberg coming down through turn 5. Just a little bit too much speed into the corner. And Justin Biscatel says, thank you for the mistake. I will pick off P4 from you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Justin needed to do in that situation. When you're behind those battling cars, you wait for them to make a mistake to open the door for you, and you take the easy pass, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, able to take that there, and now he's going to try to focus up ahead on Weston Workman, and that would be, I believe, Justin's 2nd podium of the year if he's able to finish in that position. The gap about 5 car lengths, though, as they come down through the carousel. Try to see if they can close that up a little bit more. There's a look at your leaders. Tyler Gonzalez, Gresham Wagner, and Wagner within about 3 car lengths as they fly through the kink. This is the closest he's been in a hot minute.
Yeah, in fact, that was a pretty good run there. And I honestly thought that Gresham was going to be in a bit of a problem as, wow, he got a magnificent run there coming through the kink to catch back up to him. I thought he was losing touch, and like I said, that would have been bad news because I think Gonzalez would have run away from him. But it looks like he is responding now to try and gather him back up and see if he can make this a fair fight.
Yeah, I mean, he is very much trying to do 2 things at once here, which is a difficult thing to do, to say the least. He is not only trying to run the fastest laps that he is able to do to keep up to Tyler Gonzalez, but he's also trying to distract Tyler a little bit, see if he can force an error. And speaking of forcing an error, Justin Piscatel all over the back here of Weston Workman.
Oh, Weston has got to watch out. He's practically pushing him up the straight. Justin, where is he going to go? Is he going to try and force him to hold that inside all the way? Or is he going to try and dive around to the outside? There was a nice run from the 5 as well, looking for that lead. What's going to happen with these 2, though, as we swing the cameras back? He tried to force him to the inside, and he gets the over-under, maybe.
Not going to get it done, but Joe, something has happened here to Lucas Weisenberg. He has dropped all the way down into 17th position. We'll try to figure out exactly what went wrong there and get back to you, but he is now out of podium contention after running so strong earlier in this race. But there's Gresham Wagner again, poking his nose to what will be the inside of Tyler Gonzalez. There's Weisenberg down pit lane. Clearly something wrong with the number 46 machine.
I suspected he was entering the pits the way that it looked like with cars going by him. So something's gone wrong. We'll try and get information on that a little bit later. A little bit of kicking up the dirt for Gonzalez. I think he's feeling the pressures. He went wide there at turn 5. Nothing to be too concerned about, but it definitely shows Wagner that he needs to keep this pressure on.
Yeah, he's got to keep the pressure on, as does Justin Piscatell here behind Weston Workman. Workman trying to be able to gain on here and get a podium for Smooch Racing. But here, down into turn 8, Gresham Wagner about 2 car lengths behind Tyler Gonzalez as they accelerate through the kink. Looks like Gonzalez taking a wider entry into the corner, but gets a little bit offline there. He's able to diamond off the corner well, but that was a bit of a hairy moment. As you've talked about, that new surface on the carousel really crowns there, and if you get offline, you're off camber, and you've really got to back out of the throttle.
It's just double trouble because there's no grip off of line, and there's not the camber there to save you either. So the 5 doing everything he needs to do right now. Let's see if he can make a pass. Oh, speaking of which, Piscatell taking a little bit of a look, but we're going to focus here on the leaders as now finally they come into frame there for 3rd place. Piscatell actually gets the inside away, but he's got to finish the job.
He's got to finish the job, able to get the car woed up in time, and he will come out of Canada corner absolutely perfect ahead there of Weston Workman. But Workman looks like he's going to have about 1 more lap to respond, because here as Tyler Gonzalez comes out of the final corner, they'll look to Tom Hansing in the flag stand with the white flag in his hand. 1 more lap to go from Road America.
So what is Wagner going to do here is the big question. And can he stay up with him? He had a bad run out of the final corner there, so he's a little farther behind than what we saw before. If he can get within attacking distance, he could wind up being aggressive, seeing if he could force the hand of Gonzalez. And based on what we saw between them battling yesterday, I would not bet against it.
I wouldn't either, but I'll tell you who else is trying to be able to make those moves. That is Weston Workman here at this point. Piscatell, here comes the move for Gresham Wagner down to the inside of turn 3. He's going to get the position away from Tyler Gonzalez, but was that too early of a maneuver, because now Gonzalez will have the draft coming down through the Moraine sweep.
I thought it would be farther along in the lap, but he wasted no time. But yeah, look at him already go defensive down to the inside, try to force him the long way around, but we did see some brilliant over-under moves yesterday as both of them staying all the way down to the inside, now under braking, going for that over-under, but parking it at the apex. The number 5 is going to keep him from getting the chance.
He stops him there from doing that. A little bit of contact between the 2 of them as they came through turn 5, now up through turn 6. Gonzalez looking this way, looking that way, trying to get the run through turn 7. Turn 8 is a great overtaking opportunity if he's able to go for it, but I'll tell you what, Gresham Wagner knows that, holds off to drivers left on the track and defends the line. Is he going to be able to make the corner? Gonzalez carries more speed into the carousel.
I guarantee you these 2 are relishing this. I almost saw a repeat of them side by side in the final lap through the carousel. Not this time though, but if Gresham Wagner takes this win, he has outsmarted Gonzalez, I think.
Yeah, I think he has, but remember, we've got the longest run on the track coming down into Canada corner still to go. Through the kink, Wagner, Gonzalez, here they come. It's all down to the draft, but it looks like Gonzalez didn't get the best run there through the kink. It's about 3 car lengths, the gap in between the 2. This is going to have to be a big move from Tyler Gonzalez if he wants this down into Canada corner. He doesn't have it. He'll keep going around. Meanwhile, behind them, Piscatell looks like he has got the position over Weston Workman here at the moment. Workman not able to send a move down into Canada corner as well, but up at the front of the field. Gresham Wagner holding on to the lead here at this point. They come down through turn 14, the final run. That's going to be Gonzalez dipping a tire off into the grass on the inside, off into the grass around the outside. Already a defensive line from Gresham Wagner as they climb the hill and head towards the start-finish line. After coming second yesterday, it's going to be Gresham Wagner on the top step of the podium here today.
Happy birthday to Gresham. My goodness, what a fight for the win. And great work to Piscatell on that one as he takes the final step on the podium. Weston Workman, I think he should still be proud of himself in that number 66, managing to get himself up to 4th. Like I said, he has been quiet at times, but he is still excellent in that Toyota GR86 as the last of them now come across and finish up the race here. We're still waiting for the last few cars to take the checkered flag. There is your winner, Gresham Wagner, coming back to take the win over Tyler Gonzalez here today. And you can see them giving the thumbs up out the window to one another. You can see there is great respect between them, knowing that they both gave it their all. Well, like I said, while Tyler did look to be the faster of the two, he chased him down, came from 15th to take that second place. Still an amazing job. It seems like Gresham Wagner has managed to outsmart him just by positioning his car in the right place at the right time with a sneaky move, frankly, there in turn 3. Not where we expected that one to happen. They're going to come back around to celebrate here in a moment, but here is your results. Wagner with the win over Gonzalez. Piscatel taking that 3rd spot. Weston Workman in 4th, and Corey Heim rounding out your top 5. Kevin Foster up there in 6th. Our pole sitter, Will Rogers, dropped some positions, but I think he did a fair job there, limited it to 7th place. Austin Dodge was 8th position. Tyler Wettengel in the 9th spot, followed by Will Robusto, who was a bit of a wild man today, taking the 10th position. O'Connell in 11th, with Drake Kemper in 12th, getting some damage. Unfortunately, it seemed to have slowed him down somewhat. Clemens 13th, and Mia Lovell with the fastest female driver today, taking 14th position. Paul Bocuse, P15. And there you see the remainder of our cars down to the bottom with just a couple DNFs today. Good to see with how hard they were fighting throughout the field. A single yellow to slow us up today, and otherwise it was all green flag racing. So we get ready for some celebrations here post-race, like I said, Sunday. So the racing is going to be over for these drivers. And for Gresham Wagner, celebrating his 26th birthday, is going to have to head out to Elkhart Lake today and maybe find a cozy spot to go have some fun with the team and celebrate not just a victory, but another year around the sun, while we watch the cars work their way towards the pit lane here in beautiful Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. This Road America circuit has given us some incredible shows today, and the Toyota GR Cup is no exception, certainly. With the rest of the field, I know we've been focusing on Wagner and Gonzalez a lot with that battle for the win. Hard not to focus on them. Can't really look away when they're giving us such a show at the front, but everybody else down through the field doing a phenomenal job. Bocuse with his wild moment coming out of the carousel, obviously having quite a bit of action there. You see them putting the podium off to the side, where we'll have DJ chatting with our winner in just a moment here. Gonna let him get his seatbelts off before he has the microphone stuck in his face. Can't wait to see that huge smile on Gresham Wagner's mug. He's been racing these spec field cars for quite some time, has developed a reputation. As he exits the cockpit, gives the number 1, fingers up. You can tell he is psyched on this one. He'll take the gloves off, and obviously all the safety gear there to help protect these drivers, many of them young up-and-comers. Want to have a long future ahead of them. Now that he's got the helmet off, I do believe DJ is going to have a nice chat with Wagner.
Yeah, I'm right here. I've got it. It's on other mic. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Apologies for that. Looks like we've got DJ ready to chat with our victor in the Tech Sport Racing number 5.
Gresham Wagner able to take the victory here today. Good fight and probably a pretty good birthday present.
Yeah, I pretty much did the same thing I did yesterday, just fixed that one mistake in turn 5 of running wide and letting Tyler through. So I guess yesterday was a bit of a rehearsal on how to do it a bit better. And it's also nice when it's just the two of us up there. You can race hard on the last stop. You don't have to worry about somebody else pouncing on it. So you're either going to get first or second. It's not that bad. And I got second yesterday, won today, so I'm happy.
Well, a happy man here, a happy winner. Gresham Wagner, top of the standings.
A bit of a muted celebration, honestly, there from Gresham Wagner. Expected him to be a lot more happy on that one, but it looks like he is going to have some fun tonight, no doubt, as he finally rehydrates. It's also incredibly hot today. It's the hottest of the weekend, but hotter than the temperatures. It was action on the track that was heating up as we take a look at the start of the race, and Rogers found himself immediately under attack from the man that eventually took the win, that number 5, Bocuse, taking his ride off the corner through the carousel and damaging the rear of the car. Then dramatic moments for Kohlbecker. Something went wrong. We don't know what failed, but it forced him off the track in the end. Upon the restart, this allowed Tyler Gonzalez to cut down the lead significantly, and he was on top of it, picking the pocket of the number 6 of Will Rogers in the very first corner. Then eventually, as they fought for the lead, it came down to turn 3 as the number 5 eventually moved ahead, and Gresham Wagner would not relinquish that at all and saw the checkered flag first here today in the second race of the Toyota GR Cup. Once again, we can't thank everybody enough for this awesome racing. I'm Joe Peak. We'll see you for more racing here on SRO Motorsports here at Road America.